Amazingly, this lens came out in 2008 and I've owned it for a few years now. I've used it on corporate shoots as well as many weddings. You can probably pick it up for around £275 on Amazon UK or the equivalent on Amazon US. Now, previous to this lens, I owned the Nikon 50mm 1.8D, this being the AF-S NIKKOR 50mm 1.4G. You can see I've got a little bit of wear on the numbers there. That's how long I've had it. Now, the 1.8D still remains my recommendation for best budget lens for Nikon owners. I loved it, but for my work, I wanted to move up to all 1.4 primes. So I had a 24mm 1.4, the 50 1.4 and the 85 1.4D. Now in this case, the extra light really helped me out. The build quality is slightly better on this lens, but it's not a huge jump. If you can't afford this one or even the 1.4D, then the 1.8 will see you proud. So this lens features an 8 element, 7 group configuration. And as we mentioned, it's designated as an AF-S lens, so it has a silent wave motor for fast and quiet autofocus. The aperture design features, you can probably just about make it out in there, 9 blades, and personally I like the natural rendition of the bokeh that you get with this lens. You can see that switch there, which will go from MA to M, so you can use it so as it is in this case in manual priority autofocus. So in other words, it'll autofocus as usual, as you expect, but if you want to finally adjust the focus, you can just turn the ring and it automatically allows you to manual focus. Of course, you can switch it into manual focus and then it won't autofocus at all. You just have to focus with the ring. Personally, I use back button focus, so the switch is not a huge deal for me. Very rare that I'll be using manual focus in my day-to-day work at least. It comes with a 58mm snap-on lens cover. Now I prefer these lens covers to others because I like to be able to pinch, pull them away instead of fiddling about around the edges. It also comes with a hood, so mine usually exists with the hood on. It also comes with a rear cap and a pouch, which I've got somewhere out there. It weighs with the hood 301 grams. So the weight that you'll see, for example, in the specs will say 290. So that's with the hood on, which is, as I said, how I like to carry it. When we put it on the body of choice, in this case, we've got a D600 here. It sits very well. Now it looks just as good on the smaller bodies and actually is very balanced on bodies such as the D3100, 3200, 3300 and upwards. Now obviously the D600 is a lot heavier than those bodies and the lens is clearly a lot lighter than many other professional grade lenses, but that's not a problem. And actually I think with the lens hood on it especially, it looks pleasing, as you can see there. Size wise, the lens itself is only a fraction bigger than the 1.8 version. The minimum focus, technically you're looking between 45 down to 44 centimeters, so not a macro lens, but again that won't be a big deal to you. The lens itself is well made, the design is modern, and I've yet to experience accidental flare and stray light problems. As it focuses through its range, I barely notice any movement at all. Of course, with the hood on and in the real world, it's barely noticeable. I believe the stats say about 9mm within the barrel at its maximum. I find the focusing relatively quick and smooth. It's not lightning, but it's up to par in a professional applications such as a wedding shoot, for example. It might not be as snappy as the older D version, surprisingly, but most of you won't notice when shooting out in the real world. You'll get used to it. Now, as for the image quality, sharpness is definitely up to scratch, especially on a full frame body. It's what you'd expect. Of course, as you go to f2, f4 and so on, you'll see improvements straight away, but at 1.4 it's very usable. Now maybe on the crop bodies that I used to have, it was a little bit soft at times, but still fun to use. But on full frame, as we said, you won't be disappointed. Chromatic aberration, well, not really worth a mention. In real world usage, most of us don't notice. The same with barrel distortion, don't worry about it. Pixel peepers, I think you'll get over it too. All in all, I love this lens. It now lives on my D600 and I'd happily shoot everything with it if I had no choice. The image quality is superb. The size and build quality is great for a modern lens. I am a fan of the more metallic lenses of the past, but this is a good solid looking lens and I think you'd agree that it looks good on the body that I have it on. For the price you can't beat it, but if you can't afford that, get the 1.8. Let's check out some samples. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you think of this lens.